What do you call an obnoxious reindeer?
What?
Rudolph.
There you go. That's a good one.
Why is it getting harder to buy advent calendars?
Why?
Their days are numbered.
Okay.
How do you know when Santa's around?
I don't know.
You can always sense his presence.
But those are good.
Merry Christmas, almost everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and welcome back to an episode of Famdamily. We are getting back on track.
Yeah. Sorry for missing last week to our tens of loyal listeners.
Hey, we have to keep Montana proud, okay?
We've got to keep that Montana proud.
We're still, they're still our second largest group of listeners.
That's true.
Shout out to you again. But we did get a few more states since last time.
Yeah, we did.
We got Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Which other ones? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head. Arizona. I think we mentioned that one last.
We did mention, yeah.
And then
Georgia,
yeah.
that was a new one. Oh, and we got a new Australian.
Yes, a new Australian state, which was New South Wales.
So, yay.
Making our way in the world. Literally.
Welcome, everyone. Hope you enjoy our stories. They're not ours, but we share them.
Yes. Because who else is going to?
Precisely.
It's your one and only podcast to listen to these kind of stories that we tell.
Yes, specifically our niche that we haven't zeroed in on.
Right.
I mean, we kind of have. Family stories.
Yeah.
From all over the world.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Also, I apologize for anyone listening. I am getting over a cold, and so I'm super congested. So I'm going to try my best to not be coughing throughout this whole thing. But that's why I sound the way that I do.
But yeah, we missed last week because we were in Texas.
Yeah.
At a little family gathering.
Yeah, visiting some family, and we did not plan as well as we should have when it came to putting out an episode. But that's okay, because we're human, and here we are again.
Yeah, here we are again. That, and we were kind of busy with all other things, like not only traveling, but getting back into the groove of things after our little trip. Because we drove all the way to El Paso, Texas with a 1.5-year-old, which is 12 hours. We split the drive on the way down there, but on the way back we
did
went
it all
the whole
in
way
one day. That was a long weekend. It was fun, but I feel like I can speak for both of us when I say we're never doing that again.
True. If we ever need to go places, we'll fly.
Or we just will never leave our houses. I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I can live with that. Maybe go check the mail every once in a while, but just kidding.
All right, Miles, you have a story for me today?
I do have a story for you today.
Let's hear it.
All right. So, the year 146 BCE. Greece.
What is BCE?
Before Common Era. It means BC. It means the same thing.
Oh, I just had never heard the E. Hold on.
BCE. So, 146 BCE, Greece had been conquered by the Romans. And after this conquest, Romans borrowed heavily from the Greek pantheon, so their gods and such. So Zeus became the Roman equivalent Jupiter, Athena became Minerva, Ares became Mars, Poseidon became Neptune, Hermes became Mercury, etc., etc.
Etc.
Yeah. And then, as far as Titans go, so those are the gods. As far as Titans go, Uranus, however you want to pronounce it, Uranus and Gaia, the two first Titans, birthed Saturn, who is one of the oldest and most important figures in Roman mythology.
Saturn.
Yeah, and he was the god of time and agriculture. Due to Saturn's importance, Romans decided it was a good idea to hold a celebration for him.
For Saturn?
Yeah, I wish I was that important that people would celebrate me, but here we are.
Oh, hold up. Hold the phone. I try. I'm going to put this on record. I try every year to do something for your birthday, and you're always like, no, my birthday's not important. I don't want to do anything. So do not pull that.
Yeah, that's true. I am very I like other people's birthdays. It's just mine. I'm just like, eh.
I will pull out my boxing gloves for this. I will fight you.
You would win.
Sorry, go ahead. So
You're okay. You're okay.
Being put away.
So so they had a celebration for him, and what started as a single day celebration turned into a week-long festival, which began on December 17th and lasted until the winter solstice, and then it apparently also continued for another month after that. So it was like a long time. So during this celebration, it was called Saturnalia, after Saturnalia.
Okay.
People closed up shop. Kids were able to stay home from school, and all people, including slaves, were treated as equals for the whole month.
Wow, what a monumental time when the slaves get to be treated.
Yeah, must be nice. Cattle and other livestock were butchered so that there was no need to feed them, and it also gave everyone plenty to eat during the festival. There was a lot of eating and drinking during this whole time. They in the article it was saying it was kind of equivalent to Mardi Gras, how we celebrate Mardi Gras.
So why was Saturn being celebrated?
Because he was an important god. He was the god of time and agriculture.
So just...
Well, and a couple other things. They had many roles, but that was...
So they all just thought, like, hey, that's cool. You deserve a party.
Yes.
For being you.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Must be nice. I'm just kidding. So around the same time, members of the Roman upper class celebrated the birthday of their quote-unquote god of the unconquerable sun, Mithra.
Mithra?
Mm-hmm. Now, for some Romans, Mithra's birthday was the most sacred day out of the year. And from what I can find, the name Mithra, or at least this entity, Mithra, dates back all the way to the 15th century BCE. So the name was found on a cuneiform tablet, and he was the god invoked as the god of oath for a treaty between the Hittites and the Mitanni, however you pronounce that. And then it was also in 6th century BCE, he was the Iranian god of contract and mutual obligation. And he is also described as the god of the sun and of the shining light that beholds everything. And that description was also recognized by the Greeks and, as noted before, the Romans. He is also called the mediator. And the date of his birthday was December 25th.
Oh.
Ooh. All right.
That sounds like an important day.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any correlation.
We'll see. We'll find out. So in the year 313 AD, Emperor Constantine granted Christianity legal status, and all dedication stopped almost instantly to this guy Mithra. And then in 325 AD, Emperor Constantine called the Council of Nicaea. Have you heard of that before? So it was a gathering of Christian leaders from different places to help determine the formal beliefs of Christianity. And there are a lot of different conspiracies behind the Council of Nicaea, but I'm not going to go into those.
Okay.
It's just, if anyone is curious about it, you can go look it up themselves. So, at this council, the Council of Nicaea, there was an important figure who I'm going to mention later, but just keep that in mind.
Okay.
So, with the adoption of Christianity, church officials thought it appropriate to celebrate the birth of Jesus. Because Easter was a big holiday at that time, but and the birth of Christ wasn't really celebrated, but they figured it was, since they adopted it, let's celebrate Christ and his life.
Yeah, sure.
So...
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah. So there is no place in the Bible that really pinpoints Jesus' birthday. But since they were already kind of celebrating during the month of December, they chose the date December 25th. And I'm not sure if that was because they already knew about the celebration for Mithra or not. And it's like, we'll just replace him, whatever.
Okay.
But anyway, they just chose December 25th for the commemoration of his birth, Christ's birth.
Uh-huh.
They had hoped that with the already existing celebration, Christmas would have been accepted quicker, which it was. And thus occurred the first Christmas celebration on December 25th, 336 AD.
So Christmas has been around since 336
Kind of
AD.
off and on. And I'm going to get into it here in a second.
Okay.
But yes, that was the first Christmas recorded.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So it was first called the Feast of the Nativity, and it spread to Egypt in the year 432 AD, and then to England towards the end of the 6th century. And as we know, during that time, England was one of the, powerhouses.
Yeah.
So they were able to spread it to all of their surrounding countries and everything.
Okay.
So since then, the actual date of Christ's birth has been argued, as we all know. No one is really exactly sure when it is. Some people say it's in the summer. Some people say it's like spring.
Uh-huh.
They have kind of ruled out December because from the story of the Nativity, the angel comes to the shepherds and they're like, why would they be hurting during the winter? So they kind of ruled that December 25th out, but they kept the date for the celebration.
Okay.
But because of the, all these arguments for when it happened, the Puritans, they tried to illegitimize Christmas, and it was even banned in England.
Oh.
And they called it a Catholic invention and an excuse to get drunk and to misbehave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I could see that, but...
Yeah.
So, wait. I'm confused. Where does Saturn have to do with all of this?
Nothing really. It was just Saturnalia was already the
That was kind of like
celebration
the
that was
start?
going on. Yes.
Oh.
It was a celebration going on, and they were trying to, since Christianity had just been adopted, they were trying to get it spread a little bit more quickly.
I see. Okay.
So they and that's why they incorporated into that holiday.
So, because it was already happening in December.
Because December 25th back then was the winter solstice.
Gotcha.
So it was like a very important day for everyone, and it was the beginning of like more sun during the day, kind of stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
So it was just a very significant day, and they're like, we'll do this.
We'll just use this already significant day and turn it into something else.
Yes.
Pretty much. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to fast forward a few millennia. Well, actually, 1 millennia.
Okay.
So in 1620, when the Pilgrims came to America, they also did not recognize as Christmas as a holiday. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they didn't recognize Christmas as a holiday. And then 1660, Christmas was restored as a holiday after doing away with the Puritan beliefs, but it was still outlawed in Boston. And people that were caught with even a little bit of Christmas spirit were fined 5 shillings.
That's so weird.
Which is about
just let them
equivalent
celebrate.
$50. Yeah.
Yikes, that's hefty.
Yeah. But
Hefty
let them
fine for
celebrate.
just trying to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Back then, it was about a 2 days' wage.
Oof.
So, but there were some places like Jamestown, which, Captain John Smith, that whole story.
Yes.
They were more encouraging for the holiday.
Okay.
And fun fact, in the year 1607, they made and drank the first eggnog.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wasn't eggnog a formerly alcoholic beverage, or technically still is if you do it quote unquote correctly?
Probably.
Oh.
I didn't read that much. It was just one of those fun facts on the article.
Okay.
So immigrants would continue to come, and some of them would even bring their own traditions. And over time, people became more lenient on the on celebration of Christmas. One of these traditions was brought over with the Dutch, which is the legend of Sint Nicolaas or Sinterklaas, aka
Sinterklaas?
Sinterklaas,
Klaas.
aka Saint Nicholas of Myra, aka Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So, the legend of Saint Nicholas of Myra is about a Christian monk named Saint Nicholas. He was born in the 3rd century in what we know now as Turkey, and he comes from what I read, his parents were wealthy Greek Christians. That's how they're described.
Interesting.
However, both of his parents died when he was a young man, And according to reports, he used his inheritance to help the poor and needy and sick.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. There's one legend that tells the story of 3 poor sisters whose father did not have enough money for a dowry to marry them off, and he was almost forced to sell them into prostitution.
Oof.
But St. Nicholas learned of this, and after he did, he went to the house in the wee hours of the night and left a bag of gold coins to help with the dowry of the first daughter. And this happened twice more, each time after the previous daughter was married, and then on the third visit, he was caught by the father, and the father thanked him for his kindness.
Aww,
so kind of
sweet.
And there are a ton of stories of stuff that he did kind of like this. Some include saving 3 men from execution that were wrongfully accused.
Wow.
And saving sailors caught in the middle of a storm, and then saving 3 young men from a sadistic butcher. Because it was during famine, and the butcher was planning on chopping these kids up and eating them. But he saved him. St. Nicholas saved them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a time.
Right.
It sounds like he had like a pretty good standing in the community, though.
Yeah.
Like a nice sway,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Oh, he for sure did. There are more stories that led to, the legends of St. Nicholas, how we know him now, which include secretly giving presents to poor families. He actually went on, because he was Christian, like I mentioned, he was a Christian monk. Mm-hmm. He went on to become the Bishop of Myra, and according to an early list, was even an attendee of the Council of Nicaea. So that's where I was talking about like an important figure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that one is kind of argued. According to the early list, he's on there, but there's not really any other record of him being there or contributing to it. But
we'll count it.
We'll count it.
We'll say it's legit.
Yeah, because he was an important Christian figure back then, and with what he was doing, his name was pretty well known.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so his death is believed to be December 6th, mid-14th century. It's pretty unclear exactly when, but that's when it was believed.
Okay.
And his story spread quickly throughout Europe and was celebrated in all parts of the continent. And in the 1500s, Protestantism had formed, and with that, they turned away from the practice of honoring saints. So he wasn't really honored all that much, except for in Holland, where people continue to believe him to be an important figure. And in celebration on this December 6th, people would feast, and the night before, children would put out their shoes, and in the morning they would find presents left by St. Nicholas.
Is that where we get stockings?
Kind of. Just presents in general.
Oh, okay. Well, just because I was thinking like shoe and like a stocking goes
on.
Oh,
maybe.
Your foot.
Maybe. That's a good question. Anyway.
That's cool.
So after the Dutch had brought this tradition St. Nicholas would go through many transformations and was eventually absorbed into the celebration of Christmas.
Uh-huh.
And the description of Santa Claus that we know now comes from a poem from 1820 written by Clement Clarke Moore, being written as, quote, "a jolly, heavy man who comes down the chimney to leave presents for deserving children and drives a sled pulled by flying reindeer."
Yes.
And the fur coat was added by a cartoonist in 1881. And so up until this point, it was even after the American Revolution, Christmas wasn't really celebrated until 1870.
Huh.
So that's like almost a full 100 years.
Yeah.
That it wasn't actually celebrated. But people still celebrated it up until then. It just wasn't, recognized as a holiday. But after they re-embraced it, Americans reinvented Christmas from an ostentatious carnival to a holiday of peace and nostalgia. Because, like I said, during the Middle Ages, Christmas was more like Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
How we see Mardi Gras. But yeah, that's the story of Santa Claus and the first Christmas.
That's cool.
I told you it was going to be pretty short. But
yeah, no, that's super cool.
I figured
Santa
with
Claus,
the season.
It's weird to think that Santa Claus was like, barely mentioned, and now it's such a staple in society. Right.
Like with how important of a figure he is now, you would think that, or even back then, because he was a bishop of the church.
Yeah, but he's recognized differently now. Like, I never knew any of that about him.
Yeah.
He's just Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It's the magic man that brings presents, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like he was a real person who just did really cool things.
He is a real person.
Well, he's not alive anymore.
He is.
Oh.
Who else brings presents on Christmas?
Cover your children's ears.
We should have put a disclaimer at the beginning.
No, it's super cool. Also, we went on a trolley ride yesterday that was paid for by Miles's work.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to go right around the town and see Christmas lights, and that was super cool. And one of the things that the driver did was have us count how many Grinch decorations we could find. And she made a joke like, "Aren't you glad I'm not asking you to do Santa Claus?" Because we passed this one house that had like 50 different Santa Claus in their front yard.
At the minimum 50.
Yeah, and there was a really creepy one. It was at the front, or at the garage.
The one waving?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was like electronic
mannequin.
It was really creepy.
Well, we passed that one house that had all those, like, the children ice skating.
Oh,
and
that one was weird.
That one was pretty creepy too.
Yeah, animatronics, they're only cool to an extent. When they look like they could be children or a creepy Santa Claus.
Or an episode out of Supernatural.
Yeah, just don't do it. But there was a house that had a blow-up Santa that was like 16 feet tall.
Yeah.
That was really big.
It
was cute. It was big.
She said it was the biggest one in the whole city.
I believe it.
Yeah.
We also saw fireworks, which is off topic, but it was cool.
That one was actually cool. I don't know if, from the sounds of it, that house does the fireworks when they see the trolley pass.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of as a cool little spectacle for the viewers. But I don't know. Maybe.
I would really love to see the electric bill on some of these houses.
Right.
With their lights.
Right. Because we passed a lot of houses that just went all out.
Super decked out.
And I'm like, I would love to do that, but one, I can't afford all those decorations, and two, probably not the energy bill.
So cool. That was a fun story, Miles.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. I was gonna ask, since talking about Santa Claus and talking about Christmas, do you have like any favorite Christmas memories or Christmas traditions?
I was gonna ask you the same thing after I told the story. So, let's see. Mum and Dad, cover your ears, real quick. I'm just kidding. So when I was a kid, there were a couple of times where my brother and one of my sisters, we would like wake up early to see all the presents under the tree. We wouldn't unwrap any or anything. We just kind of wanted to see. And also the stockings, because the stockings were like our favorite part of the whole thing, because they usually put like movies or like even video games sometimes, and just a whole bunch of candy, and like that was the best, like opening the stockings. I mean, the presents were cool too, don't get me wrong, but like the stockings were like the coolest part. But we always, and I'm pretty sure this is a pretty wide practice tradition as well, but would go in like an order. So one year we'll go oldest to youngest, and the next year we'll do like youngest to oldest and stuff like that. Yeah, we would do that too. Or I mean, there was a point. So I have 9 siblings. So there was a point where my parents went all out and bought all 10 of us 10 presents each. Oh, I remember you telling me. So that. You can imagine there was so much. There were so many gifts just everywhere. And it covered our entire living room. It was incredible. But of course, none of us had the patience to sit and wait for 10 presents to be opened up before yours. And so we would all we'd all get one, and then at the count of 3, okay, everyone, 1, 2, 3, open your gifts. That's kind of cool. So yeah, and my mum would also read us the night before Christmas, because how our rooms worked when I was a kid. So me and my brother shared a room, and then my 2 older sisters shared a room, and we were across the hall from each other. So like, mum or dad, whoever was reading, would sit in between the 2 doors, and they would read the night before Christmas. It was a cool pop-up book, which I'm pretty sure they still have. That's cool. Yeah. I'm pretty sure most of the pop-ups are broken, but... One of my favorite traditions, this is for, if you have children, you can excuse them when I tell this story. But
This was after we were let in on the secret of Christmas, the whole Santa Claus secret.
Mm-hmm.
And we became quote unquote Santa's elves. And so Christmas Eve, my parents would put on a movie and they would order or buy a ton of junk food, like chips and dip and all sorts of candies and pizza
Nice.
and things like that. And we would just eat and eat and eat and eat. And we would watch movies while simultaneously wrapping all of our younger siblings' presents.
That's kind of cool.
And so we were Santa's elves. We would put them all under the tree. And then my parents always kept the stockings a secret for us. And they would put cute little knickknacks. We'd get like socks and deodorant and things that we needed. But then also like a necklace and a gift card and candy and just cool little trinkets. So
that's
that was
fun.
always fun.
Yeah, our stockings were kind of funny because so me and Matt, my brother, who would have the two biggest stockings. We had those huge ones that you can get, and then my older sisters would have the smaller ones, and then my parents would have smaller ones. So like on our fireplace, because we had a open fireplace as well, so it'd have like the two big ones on the outside, then Megan and Maurice's, and then Mom and Dad's in the middle.
What about Mariah?
After she came along, she got another big one that we just kind of put on the side. So it was a little unbalanced, but
That's funny.
we made it work.
Cute.
Yeah, it was fun.
I love that.
It was fun.
Yeah, my brothers and I, we always talk about when we were kids and we would sneak out of our bedroom at night and we would army crawl across the floor to go look at the tree. And we would just sit and stare at it. Like, we weren't doing anything bad. We would just sit and look at the lights and the ornaments and things like that. But we would always like try and be so sneaky and just like literally crawl across the basement floor. Oh, good times. Good times.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we did. Me and my brother snuck out quite often, just for fun, not to like. We wouldn't do anything because we were young. We didn't know what stupid things we could do.
Didn't have that knowledge yet.
Exactly. We were just doing it to make Mom and Dad mad, I guess. Sorry, Mom and Dad. We turned out okay, right?
Christmas is next week, so we will have an episode coming out on Christmas Eve. But if you don't listen to Family Podcast before then we wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Happy holidays, whatever it is that you believe and celebrate. We just hope you have a wonderful time with your families.
Yeah. And we're also going to do a, what would you call it? Like a special Christmas
special.
Yeah, Christmas special.
Yeah.
Where we are going to reach out to some of you guys, whoever wants to, send in your own fun traditions or funny Christmas stories or something wholesome
so it's not going to be like a normal episode where one of us tells a story. I think we're just going to talk about Christmas traditions, fun things like that. But you guys are welcome to send in kind of like a listener story, like send in your own stuff. But yeah, we'll resume normal episodes the week after for New Year's.
Correct. Yeah, New Year's
And listener story on January 1st.
Yeah, so send those in too.
Yeah.
Don't forget about those.
Those are always really fun.
Those would be great. You know, you can even send in like New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Anyways, all right, you guys, have a wonderful Christmas. Happy holidays. We love you.
So much.
Bye, Montana.
Montana specifically. Just kidding. We love everyone else too.
All right, and just before we go, I wanted to remind you all that if you're feeling that nice, warm, cozy Christmas cheer, it also could be the fact that you left the oven on. So don't forget to check that and turn it off.
Love it.